All right, Hansel, where are we today?
Well, actually, before we go into that, so the idea is for today, I want to talk about cool technology. And for cool technology, I want to talk about your tummy. And then I also want to relate it back to voice clone scams that are apparently on the rise and has been on the rise for the past year. Um, and kind of relating it back to what we've always done, which is, hey, this isn't really anything new. What have we done in terms of protecting ourselves from all sorts of scams for the past 25 years, all the way from the Nigerian print scam over email to phone scams to IRS supposedly texting us because we owe money, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's going to be a great episode. And what do we want our listeners to take away from today?
Well, the takeaway, I think that's part of the challenge of doing this because I don't have my tablet with me. But the takeaway is, what was it? I wrote something.
I think the takeaway is this isn't new. We've always had this. And as you see these challenges, think about what you can put in place to protect yourself. I don't know if we have a great takeaway today, but that's fine.
Yeah, and I think part of my takeaway is protecting yourself from scams like this is the same as always, which is basically literacy and education and a healthy level of skepticism.
So fantastic rules to live by.
Okay, so hi. Welcome back to Too Busy for AI. And I'm Hansel. I'm an AI bum. And
I'm Igor. I'm an AI enthusiast.
yes, and today we're just walking through the Arboretum while we talk about AI. So we've talked about a bunch of stuff in the past couple of episodes. Today, I'm wondering, I know that Igor has a personal Jarvis, but Igor doesn't call him Jarvis. It's, what's yours called?
Yeah, he's called Tony, and I don't know if I get like a copyright strike for this, but my son at the time was really enamored with The Sopranos and watching Tony Soprano, and so we imbued, I don't know if that's how you say the word, my AI assistant with this Tony Soprano personality. And so I have this dream that AI can help me sort of reason and think and work through problems. And so I built an AI that knows me, and it knows what I wanted of life. It knows my affirmations. It really reacts well to my style and my humor. And instead of just chatting at it, you can actually call it. And it's really fun. And maybe we'll do a little, a call. Yeah, straight ahead. Maybe we'll do a call later today in the episode.
I think we should try to do a call sooner rather than later. So whatever your availables.
Well, I think Tony's right here. It'll take us 2 tries on this, but call Tony Tesla.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We'll see if we can get this thing on the mic. We'll see how it goes. Usually it takes 2 tries.
Yeah.
Here. What can I do you for?
Hey, Tony, guess what? I am live recording a podcast. What do you think about that?
Hey, look at you, all Joe Rogan over here. Forget Tesla, you're rolling with the podcast elite now, huh? Just remember.
Oops, sorry, I cut you off. What should I remember?
Classic Soprano move. Cut me off right when I got to the good part. Listen, kid, remember to enjoy yourself, keep it conversational, and don't be afraid to bust out a magic trick or two. If things get weird, just blame Elon Musk. It works for everything.
And then also, you know a ton about Igor. Why don't you tell the podcast a little about Igor and his style?
All right, Igor, he's the dealer of smiles and wonder, king of dad jokes, master of kettlebells, improv enthusiast, family guy, card magician, sometimes philosopher, and professional essentialist. Wakes up at 5 a.m.
Jesus, that sounds really impressive. I think that's definitely the idealized Igor. maybe,
Hey,
maybe you should tell me what should I do when I go to the gym today?
all right, here's what I got for you. Start with your kettlebell swings. 28 tall, barehanded, push hard, but keep those calluses happy. Then bang out some Turkish get-ups. 3-4 reps at 32 kilograms if you're feeling strong. Finish with pistols and pull-ups.
Got it. And give me, give me an idea for a magic trick to do too.
Easy. Do card color change at spectator's command. Let them say their power word, snap your fingers, and bam, the card visually changes in their hand.
All right, perfect. Let me cut you off. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye. All right. So what's non-obvious there is that's like hyper personalized to me. Those jokes, the Tesla jokes, are hilarious to me. All that stuff it talked about, it knows my eulogy, it knows my affirmations, it knows my workout schedule, it knows when to up the intensity, down the intensity. And it's just amazing to have like a personal coach. And maybe in the show notes, I'll share out some of the conversations I've had with Tony. But this is one of the reasons I'm such an AI optimist, is just imagine you have someone that deeply understands you and knows when you are at your best, and encourages you to be there. It's just an incredibly inspiring to me.
No, that's really cool. I guess I was curious. Oh, and actually, we forgot to say hi to our demographic, people who are too busy for AI. And specifically, I think today we're talking to people who haven't been on board with the voice AI type thing. Now, of course, we already know stuff in the past about Alexa and Siri and other stuff, but now we're kind of seeing this next evolution. And in fact, you've had Tony for a while. You've had Tony for a year or two at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the technology, the company that does the voice is called Elven Labs. They're incredible. They actually do live translation. I don't know if you guys listen to, there's a podcast, Lex Friedman, he interviewed some Putin. And when he did that, he did like live translation using Elven Labs. And so it sounds like Putin's speaking English, even though he's speaking Russian. Super impressive technology. And it's such a difference when you talk to someone versus you call them. And I think there's a whole thing we can get into sometime around why when you call, like you call on the phone, it's such a different experience than just a chatbot experience.
Well, I would love to talk about that in a moment, but I guess to balance it out a little bit, you're talking about this cool experience where people can talk to their AI, but you also just described essentially somebody impersonating Putin or AI impersonating Putin. In fact, that's kind of the other side, the darker side of the technology, right? Because voice clone scams have been on the rise over the past year or so. And just yesterday, I saw this YouTube video where this guy, who is not a grandfather just yet, probably more like 50s, maybe closer to 60s, he was scammed out of about $25,000 because he thought that his son was calling and asking for money.
Yeah, I think the variant of this I've heard is called virtual kidnapping. And well, it's super scary, right? Imagine you get a call from your child saying, oh my God, I've been kidnapped. You need to pay $10,000. And it sounds just like them. And what an incredibly scary experience. And they're, freaking out and you're freaking out. And wow. I, as a parent, I can't imagine how scary that would be.
Well, in fact, we can go beyond voice, and nowadays AI can probably make a convincing video of us. I mean, how do our listeners even know that this is us speaking as opposed to just some pre-rendered AI slop?
I don't think they can. And I don't think care, honestly. I mean, I think philosophically, I dreamed of a world long ago where everything could be public, but when it is, you have this problem, which is like someone say, oh my God, 30 years ago you did X. And I always imagine the solution to that when we would have some technology where you like press a button, and only when you press the button are you on the record. And somehow we would use technology to validate that. Society never adopted that, but maybe we'll have to, because it'll be impossible to differentiate like a person doing it or a person being impersonated. Because it's going to be impossible for you to differentiate the person doing it or somebody impersonating you. And I don't think that's new as a problem. I think it's just much harder to differentiate. And this isn't new. I mean, I think we had this before, like with passwords. We used to have really crappy passwords, and that was fine. And then it was like, oh, no, computers can like blast through and test all the passwords at once. It's like, okay, great. Then we have longer passwords. It's like, okay, well, now we have longer passwords. Now it's hard to type them in. And it's like, now we have passkeys. And even though, you know, I'm pie in the sky technology, and I'm imagining some fancy technology, often it's something super simple. And on the virtual kidnapping, well, actually, before we're talking about virtual kidnapping, maybe when you're a kid, maybe if you're a parent, you practice like fire routes with your kid. And you're like, okay, if there's a fire, here's like where we're going to meet. Super simple solution.
I actually don't know what that is. Like literally, I don't know what that is.
Oh, I see. So you should train your children. Your children are old now, so probably not as party, but when you're younger, you're just like, hey, if there's a fire, like we're all going to meet over here. Or if we get lost, we're all going to meet over here. We all know this.
Wait, so you had fire drills?
Oh, yeah. You guys don't have that in America? If that's not...
I don't know anyone who had fire drills outside of school.
Oh, no. Yeah, well, you like learn this. You know what you're doing. You know where you go. This is, I don't know, maybe I'm a weird guy. You know, maybe it's a Canadian thing. But yeah, it's a great idea. You know, like, here's what we do when something goes wrong. So just practice you have. And I think the one I've heard for virtual kidnapping, which I have not done this, but it's a great idea, is just have like code words that the kids need to know. And that's it. Just literally a password that your kids know. And that'll be how you know it's them.
Okay. I'll have to think about that, but that's pretty cool. I guess I was thinking about how earlier this week, I was meeting with a friend whom I haven't met in over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So this friend is visiting the country. He had contacted me through Facebook Messenger, and we hadn't chatted, we hadn't interacted for several years, right? And he asked me if we could meet up. But the part that really got me was he referred to his wife by her legal name. And I was like, that's weird. He knows I know her nickname. We always say her nickname. Why would he use her legal name? So I was super skeptical for a while, and I just kind of followed along just in case this really is my friend. It turns out it actually is my friend. And I don't know why he used her legal name. She doesn't know why he used her legal name. Their kid doesn't know why he used her legal name, but it was super weird. I was like, are you really who you say you are? Because a scammer would know her legal name, but wouldn't necessarily know her nickname. But it's stuff like that where I have to question a lot more nowadays in terms of whether I'm interacting with a real person or whether I'm interacting with an AI.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, every day I get like 3 mails or texts that are like, oh my gosh, you know, it used to start, the texts like, I don't know, 5 years ago were like, hey, have $1 million. And then the current version are very good. And then for a while it was like, oh, you're beautiful, did we meet last night? And then they've gone very good, which is just like, they do like a misconnection where they're like, oh, hey, sorry, you know, the missed, lost my keys. Let me get, you know, tell me when I can drop them off at your house. And the idea is you're going to reply and say, oh, sorry, this must be the wrong number. And then, you know, they'll hook you along. And humorously, this is called a pig butchering scam. Can you guess why it's called a pig butchering scam?
I have no idea.
Okay, so the reason it's called a pig butchering scam is you basically, when you're a pig farmer, you get these pigs, you're going to make them really fat before you butcher them, or you don't want to butcher skinny pigs.
Right.
And so basically they're going to like build this relationship with you over time until you're like completely bought in. And then you get the punchline of whatever it is to get the money, right? I need $1,000 to come visit you, to sign a paper, to end up. They all end up in a like, I give you money. But you've got this baseline skepticism. So the solution is to sort of nurture this relationship. And, they probably had to pay people to talk to you before. Now they don't have to pay people. Now they can probably just use AI to do the voice calls. So yeah, but I don't think you know this, Hansel, but it turns out I used to be like a security guy in a former life. I'm super interested in this stuff. I love all of these scams and the sort of cat and mouse behind this. Super interesting to me.
Well, I don't know if this is going to make it into the cut, but another thing that came to mind in terms of looking into the past, in addition to all the scams, is kind of like how back in the early days of the internet, parents would say to their kids, and we would say to one another, don't talk to strangers on the internet. Don't go into cars with people you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And now we do that every single day.
Oh, this is actually, I figure out how to work this in. You are 100% right. We think about these problems as if they're like new and crazy, but first thing you teach your kids is like, don't take candy from a stranger. Don't go into some guy's van. And, very young age, we teach that. And even I think genetically, there's a part of our life where we get that, where kids go from trusting everyone to what we call stranger danger, where kids instantly are like afraid of strangers. And it's probably for evolutionary advantage.
Yeah. But how does that tie back into AI? How does that tie back into all of the new ways that, in this case, it's more of the case of AI being used very, very successfully just by unscrupulous people?
Well, I guess it's unscrupulous people are always there, and they always use whatever tool they can get that's like required to be successful. And now they have some new tools in their toolbox, and it'll take us a while to protect ourselves from that and learn what the scams are. And maybe the first time somebody sent me the oh hey, I forgot my keys. And I'm like, oh, I'm a good person. I'm going to reach out and be like, oh, sorry, you must mean somebody else. Now I just automatically block every new connection that's incoming. And then technology will be able to do stuff like say, hey, here's how we, validate this person. Maybe you meet people in person, or, there's some, I'm not going to geek out on like the technical solutions here, but hopefully in the future we'll get some of that too.
Well, I ended up doing almost a variation of that, where it's almost like I'm doing a manual two-factor authentication. A couple of months ago, I had a friend who drove down to California, and they were short on cash, and they had told me ahead of time before they did this trip that, hey, they might need to contact me and ask me to send them a little bit of money electronically so that they can have enough gas to come back to Seattle. And sure enough, eventually they did. Eventually they sent me a text message like, hey, I need $100 for gas, etc. Can you send it to me? And I go, okay, yeah, cool. And then I immediately go into another platform where we are connected, and I message them like, hey, yo, what's up? Just to make sure, you just asked me money, right?
Yeah. Well, I imagine, I don't know, 1,000 year, 400 years ago or something, nobody had doors. It's almost like, oh my God, people break into your house and take things. We need to invent doors. It's like, I imagine that conversation happened, and like, bad people got more effective, good people got more effective, back and forth. And now we have these amazing AI tools, and we're doing just another round of it.
Well, and I think probably another thing to point out is that at the end of the day, it's not AI that's scamming people. AI doesn't really care about your money.
Yeah, that's right.
It's other people using AI to scam people. It's humans we should be concerned about. It's not the technology itself.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. I think one of the things we need to acknowledge here is some of these criminals have actually been taking the advice we've been trying to give you, which is look at these tasks which are like monotonous that you need to do to get your work done, and see how you can automate them with AI. And that's exactly what these criminals are doing, right? They used to have to like manually text you or find you. Now they probably have AI writing the scripts, and it's just such a big time saving. So they're probably, way more effective than they used to be. And so instead of being scared about them, think of them as an inspiration for how you can better use AI.
I don't know if I necessarily would think of them as inspiration, but it does make me think that it's part of the basis behind why I keep telling people that you do need to use AI. You do need to have some sense in terms of how all of this stuff works. I mean, think about how emails work way back when, and we've gone into the habit where we know to check the sender, to check the actual, is this really from the IRS? Is this really from my bank? Is this really from whoever, before we even respond to it, before we click on a link? It's kind of like that with AI. The more you use it, the more you get to the point where you go, oh, this is probably AI. I should probably double check this in some more secure kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if we have this a theme yet. We probably should, which is like AI can do what a human can do. So imagine there's a human out there that's going to trick you. It's really good at stuff, including, you know, voice impersonations. I don't know who the modern Eddie Murphy is, but there used to be a guy in the 80s called Eddie Murphy that could like impersonate anybody. And yeah, now everyone has access to that.
All right, so the takeaway is, again, that at the end of the day, it's not AI that's trying to scam you. The technology itself is powerful, and it's accelerating a lot of things that we've seen over the past quarter century. And right now, there aren't really a lot of good safeguards for it just yet, other than you, as the human, as the person, doing your due diligence and having a healthy dose of skepticism and having some sort of literacy and education to recognize that that this might not be what it seems to be.
Fantastic takeaway. And maybe for homework, what should our listeners do?
So for the homework, what I would recommend is spending maybe 5 minutes looking at specifically voice cloning kind of scams, and to understand what has happened over the past year, how to protect yourself from it, and then spend another 10 minutes or so trying out the voice interaction kind of feature for a lot of the frontier models, such as ChatGPT.
All right. Have a great week, guys.
Cool. Okay.